Now we've got member of the House Oversight Committee and best friend to James Comr, Jared Moskowitz. Thanks so much for coming back on.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm assuming he's going to adopt me.
Yeah. All right. So James Comr, speaking of, he basically predicated this whole Biden impeachment effort on whistleblower testimony from guys like Alexander Smirnov, who was just arrested and charged with making false statements about Joe and Hunter Biden. What's left of the impeachment effort at this point?
Well, I mean, first of all, thoughts and prayers for James Comr and his impeachment inquiry, because it is done. It is finished. They should end it. They should go get a shovel, bury it in the backyard, because this was the birth. The 1023 form. Remember all the yelling about the 1023 form, the 1023 form. We had to go into a skiff and view the 1023 form. Well, the guy who put all of that information into the 1023 form was indicted. Why was he indicted? Because he was indicted because he made it all up. All of it. It's all a lie. The $5 million payment to Joe Biden, the Bidens. Remember, we heard this for months. All a lie. And look, James is 2-0. 2-0. This is his second informant who has been indicted for lying. Let's not forget the Chinese foreign agent who was selling Iranian oil and arms to the Libyans, also was indicted several months ago for lying as well. And so, yes, this has been a lie. Don't get me wrong, Hunter Biden has gotten himself into some trouble that he's going to have to deal with. But that has nothing to do with this entire scope about Joe Biden. It is over.
Well, look, if the point of all of this was always just perpetuating a narrative by any means necessary, regardless of any of the facts, why would this actually stop them from barreling forward? Like, it's not like they were...
they're going to.
It's not like Brian, they were chastened by the lack of evidence before, so what would be different now?
Because here's the deal. They're never going to impeach Joe. That's the key. They're never going to call for a vote to impeach him. First, there's no evidence. Second, they don't have the votes. They don't have the votes to impeach the president. How do we know that? That's why they kind of stopped talking about it for a little bit, right? And they pivoted to Mayorkas, right, which they were only able to accomplish by one vote on the day of the election in New York. Now they don't have the votes in the House to impeach Mayorkas, by the way. Guess what? That impeachment is also a waste of time. He's still the Secretary of Homeland Security. The Senate is not going to remove him. He also committed no treason or high crime and misdemeanor, so they didn't do this in conjunction with the Constitution. So, Mayorkas will have to change his Wikipedia page. That's going to be the only thing that'll get accomplished. But they stopped talking about Joe Biden for a while. That's interesting. Did they know? And this is the real question, Brian. How long has James Comr known that Alexander Smirnov, insert alcoholic joke here, how long did he know Comr, what Smirnov said or what was in that form was false? How long did he know that maybe Smirnov was being investigated, perhaps? How long did he know? And depending on how long he has known, why did he conceal that? He owes that not just to the members of the committee, he owes that to the members of the House, and Comr owes that to the members of the American public who, for a year now, he has gone in front of to talk about this 1023 form.
Last time I'd asked you if you had a message for James Comr in light of what we thought then would be the end of this whole mangled impeachment effort, and that was quite entertaining. So I wonder if, in light of this latest, death knell to this impeachment inquiry, if you have another message for James Comr, given that he watches this show religiously.
Well, I mean, look, James, if you're listening, it's over, baby. It is so over. Oh my God, it is beyond over, my friend. Come on, listen to your dear friend here. I have only the best. I'm only looking out for you. Okay. I know you stopped having oversight hearings because, you didn't want to hear from me or from Raskin or from, trust fund Goldman, like you like to call him. But, look, you're friendly Smurf. I wore blue for you, James, today. If you're listening to me, it is way over. And so, but look, if he wants to continue to embarrass himself, Brian, he'll continue. We just got notice that they're bringing special counsel Hur to the floor to Congress in March. Guess what? He's not coming to oversight. He's going to judiciary. I wonder.
So that Jim Jordan
they
can
take that away from James Comr? Probably they did. Some people are saying.
Well, okay. So moving on to away from this clown car that is the James Comer impeachment effort. Can you speak on the significance of aid for Ukraine in light of Putin having Alexei Navalny assassinated?
Yeah, look, this is a big problem in Congress right now. Obviously, the Senate, on a bipartisan basis, 70 votes in the Senate, it's a big vote, passed this foreign aid package, which kind of does it all. I mean, look, I wanted to see border language in there. I want to vote to secure the border. And the idea that they took that out because Donald Trump told them to take it out is a real mistake. Because one, we could really make changes at the border. Was the most conservative language we've seen in 30 years. But no, Donald Trump wants it as an election issue for the next 10 months. So more chaos at the border. But the foreign aid package is good. It's not just for Ukraine. It's not just for Israel. It also, a third of the money in there replenishes our own stockpile, the United States' own military stockpile, which is very important. And there's humanitarian aid for all sorts of issues going around the world. And so for them to send that over with 70 votes is very powerful. But Johnson is not going to take it up. It's very clear. If he takes it up, they will make a motion to vacate. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Freedom Caucus, who's in charge of the House, along with Donald Trump. I kept saying that this guy, Mike Johnson, masquerades as the speaker. He walks around, but really Donald Trump's in charge. And if Donald Trump tells the Freedom Caucus no Ukraine money because, we're with Putin, Russia first, then they'll vacate Johnson. And so right now, if we're being honest, Brian, it's dead. It is all dead, all of it. Now, could it be resurrected with, procedural motions, maybe a petition, maybe, this, maybe that. But, those are things that rarely happen. To get 218 votes on a discharge petition is really hard. It's going to take Republicans stepping up and signing that discharge petition, something they've not been willing to do in the past. And so right now, I think it's a very scary time that because of Trump and because Johnson is just listening to whatever he says, and because of this motion to vacate, those three things, we are not going to be standing by our allies, and we're sending a very dangerous message to them that Congress is so chaotic, so dysfunctional. The only thing we can do is suspensions and expulsions, expel a speaker, remove a cabinet secretary that hasn't happened in 150 years, remove a member of the House, which hasn't happened in 20 years. That's it. That's all we're good at. We can do a couple censures along the way when we find time. But trying to help the American people, trying to stand by our allies, trying to send a strong message to our enemies, Congress, the 118th Congress is not able to do that. And in light of Donald Trump saying, the hell with NATO, let Russia do whatever they want, even more dangerous with him out there, that Congress can't function.
Well, can you briefly walk us through the process of how a discharge petition would play out?
Yes.
And is one in the works?
Yeah, I think Speaker Jeffries will be dropping a discharge petition. I think it'll mirror the bill exactly that passed the Senate. It'll be that identical bill. The way it works in the House is you file that as a bill. It then has to sit for 30 days, right? And then it can become a discharge petition. So what does that mean? It sits down at the well of the floor of Congress. You go down and there's a piece of paper. You literally sign your name on that piece of paper. You then list your district and your district number, and you're done. You have signed the discharge petition. It takes a majority of the voting members of the House, 218. It takes 218 to pass a bill. It takes 218 to pick a speaker. It's 218. If you get 218 members, that bill then comes to the floor under the discharge petition rules. But it's then got to come when it comes to the discharge petition, you have to have enough votes to pass the rule, right? You've seen Republicans, when they bring stuff forward, there's a rule vote and there's a vote on the issue. So now, if those Republicans who signed the discharge petition, because it's going to take a couple of them, they then have to vote for the rule to hear the bill. My guess is there's 213 Democrats. We probably can get 200, 205 to sign the discharge petition. So we're going to need somewhere between 10 and 15 Republicans to go and sign it.
Now, when you say the rule, does that just mean like with the members who are on the rules committee, or do they a full House vote has to vote for the rule and then has to vote for the actual bill?
Well, so if it goes to the rules committee, we need people on the rules committee vote for it. If that's not going to happen, then it can come under suspension, right? But now you need 2/3 to pass the bill. I think you can pass the bill with 2/3. I think you would get 2/3 of the House, but you still got to get 218 on the rule vote to get to the suspension bill.
But I mean, do you think you have, with 205 Democrats, clearly there has to be surely there has to be 13 Republicans who still recognize the danger of emboldening
there's more than that. There's 100.
Okay.
Which one of them are going to have the balls to go and sign their name and deal with the online backlash? I mean, that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about that there aren't 100 or a majority of Republicans that want this to pass. There are, and they're with us on it. But are they willing to stand up to Donald Trump and the online trolls who want to bring back isolationism and put their name on the dotted line for this foreign aid bill? We've not seen that yet in this Congress. We've not seen it. We've only seen the moderates stand up when Jim Jordan looked like he was going to be speaking.
That's it. Because it would hurt them ultimately to know that they'd have to go back to their districts in 2024 and say, vote for me so that we can put Jim Jordan in charge of the House. Well, Mike Johnson had come out in the immediate aftermath of Putin having Navalny killed, and Johnson said that Putin will be met with united opposition. So can you help me square these things? Because he just unilaterally blocked Ukraine aid from being taken up in the House, which would help Ukraine against their war with Russia. So, what the fuck is he talking about when he presents himself as this champion against Russia?
3 words: motion to vacate. That's it. I actually think Speaker Johnson is with us on the issue.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually think Speaker Johnson understands how important it is for us to make sure that we stop Putin in Ukraine so that he doesn't march into Europe, so he doesn't try to reassemble the USSR, which is really what Putin wants to do. I think he gets that, and I think he understands that it's avoiding boots on the ground as well with this aid package. Also, you got Israel's aid package in there, which I think is really important as well. So I think Johnson is with us, but the reality on the ground that the deal that they made with Kevin McCarthy in order to make him speaker is that one member can make a motion to vacate. That is what is holding up Johnson, putting that on the floor. I am telling you, if that motion to vacate didn't exist, we would have already voted on it. But Johnson knows that if he puts it on the floor, he's gone unless he makes a deal with the Democrats to vote against.
That's what I was just going to ask. Do you think that any deal with the Democrats in exchange for putting this bill up for a vote would be possible?
Here's what I would say, right? And I don't speak for all of us, right. But what I would say is, if there's a Speaker of the House that's doing the right thing for the American people, that's doing the right thing for our allies, that is standing up against the access of China and Russia and Iran and is trying to help keep world order, I would find it very hard that Democrats and the very next vote would allow the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world to go and remove the Speaker and pick the next one. I don't see that happening. I don't see it. So, but we got to let that play out, right? Johnson's got to show everyone he's willing to do the right thing.
All right, let's finish off with this. Tucker Carlson also just finished his little Soviet-style propaganda tour when he went food shopping and went on the subway out in Russia, and he was apparently so enthralled with the prospect of putting a quarter in a shopping cart, and then you get the quarter back at the end. Here's a clip of that.
All right. Here we go. So I guess you put in 10 rubles here, and you get it back when you put the cart back. So it's free, but there's an incentive to return it and not just bring it to your homeless encampment. Okay.
All right, so what was your reaction to Tucker's delight at a technology that's existed at every Aldi supermarket for 40 years?
Well, first of all, he went to a shopping mart that was half empty.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing, he didn't check aisle 5 because in aisle 5 in the Russian supermarket, he could have picked up ricin.
That's right.
To use against his political opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, I thought Tucker was going to interview Putin because of that opportunity and because, he just wants to, be like little Yago for Putin on the shoulder. But he is, oh boy, Tucker is in deep now. I mean, if you listen to him, are you watching him? I mean, the Russians have reprogrammed Tucker Carlson. He is now a straight up Russian stooge, right? Full Russian propaganda. It's amazing here. Love Moscow. Get a summer home here. Take the family to Moscow. You can go food shopping. You can ride the subway.
I think the term they use is useful idiot, right?
By the way, we're beyond a useful idiot. They have used psyops on Tucker right? And they have totally got him now, hook, line, and sinker. We've seen the Russians do this before, okay? Where they go and they show you like these wonderful things. They're like, look, Moscow's like Disneyland. And they're like, oh, I met with Putin. He's delightful. He's got a soft touch. He moisturizes. I mean, Tucker is he's gone. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of scary because like Tucker or don't like him, I mean, he's not an uneducated guy. I mean, how does he not realize that they have just totally used him and he's now a propagandist for Vladimir Putin? Unless he's doing it on purpose, of course, because he knows that sells on X. And it's about, and since he knows there's an audience on X, he's doing it for money, which is obviously possible. But yeah, Tucker, keep saying that you're activated and you're now an activist against the United States. Yeah, that keep showing us the true colors.
Nothing like the America First agenda at play there. With that said, Congressman, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks, Brian.